Hi everybody, welcome to Cheap Comic Collector. This is episode number 58. And as promised, today we are going to take a closer look at this issue of Popular Comics. This was a title done by Dell. And it features mainly just comic strip reprints, I believe. This is a December issue. There's no... Oh, there's the price. It's in the middle of the Dell logo. This would be even before they had the Dell stamp logo in the cover. There's Smiling Jack. He's not smiling. And this is a cute cover with Felix coming out the door, and the mice spilled his milk to create a skating rink, which, you know, for most people that would have been a good enough gag as it is, but whoever did this cover added these two guys running away with milk icicles. So very cool. I love when an artist does that extra little touch on the covers. So this is number 142 from 1947. Not quite as early as I expected, but still very early. We got Smokey Stover. Smokey used to be a comic strip that was very popular. It's known as a screwball strip, meaning that it was basically just funny nonsense, but often hilarious. And then we got a Felix the Cat story. This one was interesting because it's the way they've laid out the panels. These are comic strip reprints, but they've laid out these panels similar to the way Gladstone presented like the Mickey Mouse comic strips when they started publishing in the late 80s. And so it's just kind of one continue, even though you can kind of tell where each strip ends if you read it. It continues on, and this one's about Felix and this kid is apparently a friend of his, and they get a job as reporters at the newspaper, and so that was fun. It was a fun issue. Then we got Smilin' Jack. I didn't actually read this Smilin' Jack story. I did read the Felix story. But Smilin' Jack, because it's, you know, kind of a serial type story, I didn't go through and read it. And again, this is from a comic strip. And what's interesting about this particular story is that Smilin' Jack does not appear in this episode of the serial at all, as it's presented in this comic book. So he's on the cover, and apparently the reason he's not smiling is because he's not in the story. I don't know. And you got another Smokey Stover screwball strip by Bill Holman. A few more. They're very silly, but funny if you're in the right mood for it. And then we have Terry and the Pirates by, of course, Milton Caniff. Great strip. I enjoy reading many years of this strip. When I first discovered it online, I actually printed out like the first several years because I could find them all online. I printed them all out on paper, so I'd have a paper copy of the strips and shared them with my mom, and she loved them too. And they were just really good. I haven't read this. It was very dialogue heavy, and I just didn't feel like, I was tired when I opened this one up, and I just didn't feel like going through and reading all this dialogue. Especially when, you know, you can tell it's from a continuation and it continues on. So without having the complete story, I just didn't feel like working my way all the way through there. But you know, great art. You know, possibly, you know, some of the artwork is considered inappropriate for this day and age, but great strip. Got a text story, Lost on the Roundup. This was copyrighted by Robert Callender, so I imagine he's the writer. And then we have The Case of the Concrete Grave. This is probably a strip reprint also. The Grand Comics database did not really provide the information of whether it was or not. It said it was very similar to some strips that are out there, but not sure. So, and then Gasoline Alley, I think, finishes up the issue, which I've been reading. I read a lot of Gasoline Alley not too long ago, probably in the last year or so. Somebody was posting them on one of the Facebook groups that I belong to that do comic strips. And that was a good strip, too. It was, you have to read a bunch of them to get into it, but it's a good strip. And it looks like Felix the Cat has probably a Sunday page reprinted at the end. And on the back cover as well. So, good comic. I enjoyed it a lot. There's like pieces falling off of it every time I take it out of the bag, so I gotta put the archive tape on this one, which I hate to do to something that's this old, but if I don't, it's just going to continue to deteriorate and fall apart. So gonna do that to preserve it. And thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And tomorrow, let's see. I think we're going to do another What Am I Reading episode. And then after that, we'll get into a new short box. So tomorrow is, what am I reading? It's some X-Men. Spoiler alert. So thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.